Hey, what's going on, everybody? Icy Cat here, and today we've got some new information regarding upcoming content for Rainbow Six. This is new customization content for your operator and their weapons, and we've got a first look here next. Apparently a few weeks ago, Ubisoft sent out a survey to some various participants and asked them what they would think about some things that were being put into the game. There's a lot of other questions that were asked as well, and apparently this was all supposed to be covered under NDA, but someone violated it and posted the pictures on the internet anyway. Now these photos have been making the rounds, and you can find them on the forums and subreddit and Twitter and Facebook all over the place. So here's the first set. This is an alternate head skin for Smoke. We have a front view and a profile view. In the survey, they were asked what they would be willing to pay for this item. $4, $6, $8, even $10. You can see behind the gas mask in the front view, we have the Smoke background behind him. And in the profile view, there's a little bit of yellow in the upper corner there. That looks like perhaps the patch that would be seen behind them in the weapon loadout screen. This is definitely an in-game render placed on the character model. And it looks like coming soon we'll have the option to choose alternate headgear for operators. Based on the front view, it doesn't look like anything in the chest or shoulder area has been changed at all. It looks like it could be just the headgear only. The next image we have shows what looks like weapon charms. You'll notice on every primary weapon in the game, there's always been a clip somewhere that you can see. As you move around, the clip kind of sways back and forth a little bit. Now we can see that those are meant to hold these weapon charms into place, and they'll probably be swaying and bouncing around as you move the gun. Here's a second image, and we can see this is some kind of a stamped tag with a saying on it. It's safe to assume that we'll probably see a variety of these kinds of things. Also interesting to note in this image is that we're seeing the weapon held in a view that we've never seen before. The gun is kind of canted off to the side a little bit, and it's being held in a new position. This hints at some kind of a weapon inspection feature so you can get a better look at the charm as it's on the weapon. Easy enough to implement on a keyboard. I'm not sure what they do with it on the console considering all the buttons are already spoken for. Maybe you'd hold one of the buttons down for longer and that would allow you to inspect the weapon, something like that. This is a feature that is present in some other games. So for me, the first thing this does is raise a few questions. Let's go back to the headgear for a second and talk about that. We already know that in-game there's been a problem with headshot detection issues. The GSG-9 operators are far more likely to be headshot due to their larger helmets. Even hitting them in one of their protruding earmuffs counts as a headshot. Therefore, they have a larger headshot profile than other operators that don't have that gear. Now, if we're talking about introducing alternate headgear on different operators, is this going to create a similar problem? Now, in the gas mask that was shown, that's not really a big deal. It doesn't change too much. It looks like, in fact, it's just simply a pure texture wrap. And if we're talking about only a texture wrap, then that's not too bad. But if we change the geometry of the headgear in any way, shape, or form, we could also be altering the headshot hitbox registration. And that could be problematic. The other question that raises is, how silly are they going to get with these kind of things? I mean, that gas mask wasn't too bad. It was even kind of cool in a way, but are we going to start seeing things like a cowboy hat on Thermite or a construction worker helmet on Fuse? Or, I mean, like, where are we going with this? Clearly, the game isn't afraid to get silly. We've got purple and pink weapon skins in the game already. And I'll get to the charms in a minute, but those are clearly in a ridiculous direction. So how outlandish are we talking about going with these things? And the price point. In the survey, they're talking about paying anywhere from $4 to $10 for one of these alternate skins. Now, I don't know if they're going to be doing like a tier system as they do with the weapon skins already, where the higher premium tiers are paid for and the lower tiers are done with renown, and then the middle tiers are a mix of either or. I don't know if there's only going to be one alternate headgear per operator. I mean, that's already a lot if you think about it. There's 22 operators in the game currently, so that's 22 alternate head skins. And that's with only doing one of these per operator. If they do multiple per operator for different tiers, then you're talking about a whole lot of extra additions to the game. But going up to $4 and $10 price points is frankly just ridiculous. The Tier 5 weapon skins are already insanely overpriced. 720 credits breaks out to about $6 for a single weapon skin that might only be good for one or maybe a couple of weapons. Now you're talking about spending at least that amount of money, if not more, just to have a different skin on your character's head. But at least with a weapon, you see the thing floating in front of you. As you play the game, your weapon skin is right in front of you. You can't even see your own face when you play the game, so what does it matter? The only time you'll ever see it is on the weapon selection screen. Other players will see it when they look at your character model, but again, as you're running around, you're not going to see it a whole lot, so the only time it's really going to be profiled is on the kill cam replay screen. So somebody might see your new face skin for 5 seconds in any given match, and they're considering asking you to pay between $4 and $10 for something like that. Something that you can't see, and something other people can only see for about 5 seconds at a time. So now let's talk about what you can see for more than 5 seconds at a time, and that's the weapon charms. As I mentioned before, I think this is absolutely ridiculous. No other Tom Clancy game has ever done anything like this before. The closest you ever got were the Vegas games, because in Vegas they offered a custom camouflage editor, and people would put together some goofy color combinations of like pink and purple and yellow, or, you know, just whatever they wanted, and there were some goofy things in there. And there were some people that really liked that and thought it was cute and funny, but there were other people, and this was probably the vast majority, that couldn't stand it. They hated playing their game of a realistic military shooter, and they were faced with people in tie-dye camouflage and rainbow camouflage, and it just drove them absolutely crazy. Now, if you're one of those people that found that annoying, get ready for a whole other level of annoying as you have these cute and cuddly plush toys dangling off the side of your assault rifle. Furthermore, we know that these are going to be bouncing around as you play. You can play the game right now and you can see how these clips move around in the game. As you turn or as you run, these clips bounce and move and swing. Now, when you have these charms attached to the clips, they're going to be doing the same thing. Guys, we are now getting into full-blown Call of Duty territory here, and I know other games do some of these kinds of things too. But, you know, in Call of Duty, you would get to the point where you could play as an evil clown in orange armor with a purple shotgun. Well, here we go. You can already put a purple weapon skin on. Apparently we have the almost evil clown face mask for smoke that was shown in the other screen, and now you can make your assault rifle into your very own charm bracelet. I hope you've enjoyed that mostly realistic paramilitary shooter we've been playing up until now, because it's about to turn into a comic book or a Saturday morning cartoon. At least with the weapon skins being goofy colors, it didn't matter so much because in the kill cam it was black and white and you would sort of lose the color. And while that gas mask that I showed earlier wasn't too horrible of an example, based on the charms alone, it makes me worry about how much silliness we're going to see coming out of the head skins as well. And now whenever I watch somebody's kill cam footage, or I'm dead and I'm watching other operators play, I get to watch these goofy little charm bracelets bouncing around too. There were so many other directions this could have been taken. You could have put in alternate weapon attachments, things that maybe didn't perform any differently but just looked different. So that way, I don't know, you could have done, instead of like having the olive drab EOTech sight, you could have had a black one. Or you could have had different shapes and styles of scopes and sights where they weren't necessarily doing anything different, but they looked different. You could have had different sight reticles, not the goofy ones like Call of Duty has where it's skull and crossbones sight reticles, but, you know, like just some different shapes or sizes of what was already in the game, or maybe some, you know, new basic things, but not goofy things. You could have implemented new colors, so instead of just a red dot, you could have had a blue dot or a green dot or something. You could have introduced alternate styles of foregrips or different styles of barrel attachments and things like that that would just change the visual appearance of the gun model. And these kinds of things would create tactical customization. But instead of going that more tactical route, they've decided to go the more goofy, silly route. And I view that as a huge wasted opportunity. There's going to be some people that think that's great and that's wonderful and they love it, but I just feel like this is being done right now because it's a trend that's happening in some other popular games, and we just want to jump on the same bandwagon because they're doing it, let's do it too. Never mind the fact that no Tom Clancy game has ever gone this route before, that it breaks the immersion that a world like this offers. Never mind the fact that Rainbow Six has always been the older, more mature version of a game like Call of Duty. Never mind the fact that a large portion of the community completely rebelled against the pink and purple camouflage that was present in Vegas. Nope, let's take it a step higher even than that. Now keep in mind, there's no official confirmation about these things. This was leaked content, but you can see that these images were based on in-game renders. These are operating in the game environment. There was a survey, an official survey that went out asking people, how much would you pay for this content? We do have a new season of content coming out in just about a month or so. I mean, you add all of this up together and it's looking very likely that this is the direction they're taking it. You don't put these kinds of resources behind something that you're not going to follow through on. So if this isn't part of the next month's content, I would be very surprised. But either way, guys, it looks like this is coming to the game. So what do you guys think? Are you excited for new content like this, or would you rather they didn't go in this direction? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest news and information for Rainbow Six Siege. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.